Hello collectors, Joe Prodzik here with another statue review, and boy do I have quite the statue for you today. This is the first 1/3 scale Street Fighter statue from Pop Culture Shock. I bring you Akuma. I have a very vivid memory of Akuma from my childhood. This was before the popularity of the internet, so there were no forums or Reddit posts about video games. If you wanted to know a tip or trick about a video game, you had to read about it in a magazine, learn it from a friend, or discover it for yourself. My friends and I were playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold on the Sony PlayStation. One of my friends was matched up against Akuma. This was the first time I remember seeing Akuma as a character, so we had no idea he was a hidden character in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. All that we knew was that he was similar to Ryu and Ken, but was tough as shit to defeat on higher difficulty settings. It was a very close match, and we thought that my friend finally had Akuma beat. Then Akuma did this move, and I've never forgotten this moment. He did this move, and the screen turned white, and the symbol appeared. Even though my friend was defeated, the whole room erupted in excitement. We didn't ever get to see that move again, and had no idea what had happened. Years later, I now know that move to be the Raging Demon, and now I love using it against my friends. To me, it is still the biggest holy shit move in the game from one of the most intimidating characters in Street Fighter. Now that's enough reminiscing about video games, let's get to the review. The box for Akuma is massive, with images of the statue itself and the kanji symbol prominently featured. After Vega, I was expecting the box to be similar to that of the other Street Fighter statues, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that this box was different. This statue is special and was treated differently by Pop Culture Shock. For more about the packaging, see my full unboxing video. To me, Akuma is the most intimidating figure in the Street Fighter universe. His sole purpose in life is to hone his martial arts skill and test himself against the strongest fighters. Akuma harnesses the power of the Satsui no Hado, and in this form, he is barely keeping it in check. So then the question for Pop Culture Shock was, how do you portray that as a statue? And the answer? Give him a menacing grimace, eyes that are full of power, and a physique that Mr. Olympia would be proud to own. Though clearly based on a bodybuilder's physique, Akuma is not quite as wide and overly bulky as a bodybuilder would be in real life, and I can still picture him leaping into the air to drop some fireballs on his opponent. While not quite as simple as the basis for PCS's quarter-scale mixed media line, the base is still pretty simple in comparison to other similarly priced statues that are being released today. Akuma stands atop some rocks, which he is known to do from time to time, and embedded in the rock is a Japanese-style Oni mask, which fits the story of the character. Pop Culture Shock is not known for their elaborate bases. They like to keep it simple, but the base for me seems like it is halfway between PCS's normal simple style bases and a more elaborate narrative style base, and because of this, I do find myself a little bit disappointed by its design and wishing for more. Akuma was hand sculpted by the owner of PCS himself, Jerry Macaluso, and the sculpt is nothing short of amazing. The masterful crafting of the statue can be fully seen when the top of Akuma's gi is removed. At 1/3 scale, the statue is very intimidating. His muscles are bulging with power. It's like he's barely able to contain the power of the Satsui no Hado within. I've been asked many times whether I prefer digital or hand-sculpted statues and which I think is better. I can honestly say that I do not have a preference, and I think a digitally crafted statue is just as good as a statue crafted by hand. But when I look at Akuma, there's just something about it, an unidentifiable something that the statue has. It has a presence. It almost feels like a small piece of Akuma's soul was crafted into the statue. I know that sounds a little ridiculous and a little wonky, and I cannot say if that is because of the statue being hand sculpted or not, but there is something about this statue that I cannot quite describe that makes it special. My only complaint with the sculpt is that I wish the hair was a little bit more refined, as it seems to clash with the rest of the piece just slightly. The mixed media on the statue is high quality. Just don't forget to ruffle the areas around the arms to get the right look you want. The top of the gi does have some Velcro on it to make it easier to remove and put back on, something I was a little bit scared to do myself as I didn't want to ruin it. There's also some wire in the edges, making it posable as well. Akuma's hands and feet are both wrapped in real rope that doesn't feel cheap or loose. The beads are also made of real wood and not some cheap plastic. The craftsmanship on this statue is unreal. I've always appreciated the smooth paint on PCS statues, and that is continued here with Akuma, but like the sculpt, the paint on Akuma is on a whole different level. Not only do we still get the super smooth paint quality, but we also get extreme vascularity under the skin. Because Akuma is in a larger scale, you can see the details and veins from across the room. There are some slight errors around Akuma's teeth, and because the statue is in a bigger scale, the imperfections do stand out a little bit more in that area, but otherwise, the mouth area is painted well and the teeth look like actual teeth. I think part of the problem I have with Akuma's hair is also because of the paint, which is not quite as smooth as the rest of them. It's like the factory had one team working on Akuma's body and another working on his hair, and because the hair was a smaller piece, they didn't put their best people on it. It's far from bad, but it's not quite as good as the rest of the statue. Speaking of that hair again, there was a little bit of controversy in comparison to the prototype, as the hairline sits a tad bit higher on the production piece. This is hardly noticeable, but happened because Akuma was crafted in two different pieces, the hair and then the rest of him. I'm sure this was done to accommodate the light up eyes. The hairline seam itself is hardly noticeable, but the statue could have been just a tad bit better had this been treated differently. Another change from the prototype was a change from Aerobic Belt. Capcom itself is responsible for this change, as they are very particular about their license. While the belt does not affect my opinion of the statue, it is worth a note. While I do have some slight issues with the hair, the rest of Akuma's quality is top drawer. The statue is solid and has a nice weight to it, similar to my other 1/3 scale statues. I do also love that the majority of the statue is one solid piece. Akuma is a Pop Culture Shock exclusive statue, priced at $850 and is limited to just 350 pieces. The statue is long sold out, and you'll have to get it on the secondary market if you want one. As of the time of this video, you can pick up Akuma for anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500, which means the price is climbing. It's hard to say if the value of the statue will continue to rise though, as the desirability of 1/3 scale statues is not quite what it is for quarter scale versions. The low edition size will make this statue harder and harder to find than other statues in this same scale. When I write these reviews, I'm upstairs sitting at my computer looking at pictures and video I've taken of the statue. I'm putting this statue under a microscope for purposes of this review. I'm looking for things to comment on, praise, and critique, and I'm trying to do it all in an objective way. So even though I have some small criticisms of Akuma, I want you to know, in all seriousness, that when I go downstairs into my collection room and I look at all of the statues in there, Akuma is hands down the best statue in my collection. I'm giving Akuma a final review score of 4.5 out of 5 for amazing. The statue has a presence like no other, and the craftsmanship is some of the best I have ever seen. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Street Fighter Akuma 1/3 scale statue from Pop Culture Shock. And if you did, check out our show called Statue Talk, where we share our thoughts on all of the latest statue previews and pre-orders. Check out our website, statuereview.com, where you can check out a full gallery of this statue, as well as my written review. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep up to date on all of our latest unboxings and statue reviews. And remember, statue collecting is more than just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. This has been Joe Prodzik for Statue Review. Thanks for watching.